So one fighter that I'm actually worried for is Tony Ferguson. Now, obviously it's been confirmed now. Tony Ferguson is going to fight Micheal Chandler, and I think the UFC they understand that Tony Ferguson, even though he's not as popular as a McGregor or KHABIB, does have a bit of a cult following, and he's on a 3-fight win loss streak. So he's lost 3 times in the last 3 fights. So from that perspective, he's just not what he once was. He's just not that guy anymore. I mean, that Tony Ferguson that went through that 12-fight win streak and always found a way to win, even when the decks were stacked against him, even though he was getting mounted by Kevin Lee, the one that had to take an ACL injury and managed to win a fight against Pettis, even though Pettis was constantly kicking his leg. I mean, that guy is gone. I mean, that guy is just no longer there. The reason why he's gone is because Justin Gaethje beat that out of him. I mean, he's no longer that guy anymore. And instead, what we've got is basically a shadow of that man. He still has the same tenacity and balls that he had back then, but he just doesn't have the ability anymore. He still has the same never give up attitude, but he just doesn't have that ability anymore. And the only thing that's stopping him from getting stopped in all of these fights and getting the stoppage is the fact that he's got so much heart and he's so tenacious. But now that he's going in there against Micheal Chandler, I still think Micheal Chandler's just got too much for him. And don't get it twisted, the build up of the fight will be entertaining. Obviously we saw when he was about to fight Beneil Dariush, the press conference, Tony Ferguson completely stole that press conference and made it entertaining. But the fact is, the reason why he got into that position is because the main reason why that fight is happening is because of that press conference. If it wasn't for that press conference, I don't think this fight would happen. Like, there's a chance it could happen, don't get it twisted, but I don't think there's a strong chance it could happen, if that makes sense. So from that perspective, I just think there's a very good chance that Micheal Chandler could stop Tony Ferguson. I just think Tony Ferguson is just way past it. Now, don't get it twisted. People are saying, oh man, like Tony Ferguson might out of nowhere just do a Kimura or somehow get him into a position where he submits him. But I just don't see that happening, because the fact is, right, Micheal Chandler was in a position where he got mounted like I think what's his name, Charles Oliveira, who's way more of an accomplished Brazilian jiu-jitsu artist than Tony Ferguson, got him into a chokehold, and he managed to break himself out of it. If you can do that against Charles Oliveira, then what's going to stop him from doing it against Tony Ferguson? I just think Tony Ferguson just doesn't have it anymore. He's just not that guy anymore. And obviously I'm not the one to tell a fighter, oh man, this guy should retire or not retire, because at the end of the day he's the one that's paying his own bills. So for us to say that is just it's not fair, because if he does retire, how is he going to pay his own bills? Are we going to pay it for him? It's easy for us to say, oh, this fighter should retire or do this or do that, but at the same time I just think this fight is suicide for him. I don't think there's any hope of him winning this fight. Tell me what you think. Do you think there's any hope of him winning this fight? There's a false hope. There's people that think, oh man, he's gonna somehow pull this one off, but I just don't see it happening, because he's no longer that guy anymore. He's no longer the fighter that he once was. He was a very entertaining fighter, and he had a cult following for good reason, because of the fact that his fights were awesome. But the fact is, his time is now past. And I just feel like if he goes in there against Micheal Chandler, let's be real, Micheal Chandler is going to be the one that's going to probably stop him. It's a sad state of affairs, but the facts are the facts, and I just think that there's just no way that he's going to somehow beat him, because I just feel Micheal Chandler is just a lot more fresher. Of course, he's lost his last 2, but in them fights against his last 2, against the likes of Justin Gaethje and Charles Oliveira is still a champion, and he was only 1 punch away from stopping him in the first round. And Justin Gaethje gave a very game effort and good fight to him. So from that perspective, I think it's clear to see that literally Micheal Chandler's got a lot more left in him. Now, I think it's shameful what the UFC are doing. They know that Tony Ferguson is not the same fighter, yet they're still making this fight. They're doing it to build up Micheal Chandler's name. But the fact is, Tony Ferguson has been in the business long enough to know what's going on, and he should be saying, like, instead of getting a fight against him, like, he should get a fight against someone else. When he lost against Beneil Dariush, that's when I knew the guy was finished, because fair enough losing to Charles Oliveira, who's this amazing Brazilian jiu-jitsu artist, losing to Justin Gaethje, who's this animal on the feet, but losing to Beneil Dariush, he would never have lost to him if he was in his prime, or if he was even close to his prime. He would have never have lost to him. The fact that he lost to him says a lot about where he is in his career at this moment in time. He's definitely not what he once was. He just isn't. He's not that guy anymore. I mean, it's fair to say he's not that guy anymore. If he was that guy, then he would have won. He would have beaten at least Beneil Dariush, but he's no longer that guy anymore. Now he's going in there against Micheal Chandler, who legitimately is a top 5 lightweight in the world. I mean, he is a top 5 lightweight in the world. He's going in there against him. I mean, it says everything that you need to know about the UFC's interest. They're trying to build a star in Micheal Chandler, and obviously Micheal Chandler's got a lot more left in his tank than Tony Ferguson, so they're just going to use Tony Ferguson as basically just to lap up Micheal Chandler's record, because regardless of him giving competitive fights in his last 3-4 fights, the fact is I think he's 2-1 in his last 3 fights. So from that perspective, you can clearly see that this guy is just he's not where if you just look at his record, he doesn't look as appealing. But if he gets a win against Tony Ferguson, who's a bit of a cult hero in MMA terms, and on top of that, like he gets that win against Tony Ferguson, right, he's going to be 2-2, and then all he needs to do is get one more win, and then he's got more wins than losses. But if I was Tony Ferguson's manager, I'd be telling him not to take this fight. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. But at the same time, I'm not the one paying his bills, so he's going to have to do what he needs to do. But yeah, I think it's tragic that we never got to see the Khabib fight with Tony Ferguson, or even a Conor McGregor fight. But if I was the funny thing is, the only person that could get him that fight is probably like Khabib's manager, Ali Abdelaziz. He could probably negotiate with the UFC brass to get him a fight against the likes of the likes of Conor McGregor, because that's a fight that makes sense for both fighters. Both of them are at the end of their career. Instead, Conor McGregor wants to fight Kamaru Usman, which is completely bizarre, and you got Tony Ferguson that wants to go in there against Micheal Chandler, who's just way beyond his level at this point in time. Both of them have just got their priorities completely fucked up. So yeah, from that perspective, I just think it's I think the right thing to do is to make the fight, is to duck Micheal Chandler. I just don't think he's ready for that smoke, but he's gonna do what he's gonna do, because he is what he is. He's a champion, regardless of what you think about him. He's going to do what benefits him. So yeah, that's just my opinion on this fight. Tell me your opinion. What do you think Tony Ferguson can do to fight Micheal Chandler? Do you think he's got a chance against him? And like and subscribe to the channel. I've got a lot more content coming your way. Peace out.